to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. The stream is brought to you by LIVE Products. LIVE. Live now. We're live now. There's an array of products from LIVE. You have drinks, you have punches, and you also have cleaning products. If you're in the Trinidad and Tobago area, feel free to order. The uh, the number is in the description. We talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. There was a question out there. What is the greatest comic book movie of all time? And for me, it's not The Dark Knight. It's not Civil War or Endgame or Infinity War. It's not Days of Future Past. It's not Logan. It's not Unbreakable, Split, or Glass. It's not Blade 1 and 2. It's not Spider-Man 1 and 2. It's not BVS. It's not Man of Steel. It's not Wonder Woman. It's not Joker. It's not the Batman. It's not Captain America, the First Avenger, or Iron Man 1. No. It is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Period. Period. And today, I want to pay tribute to one of the really great artists that helped to promote and helped us in our movement to push towards Zack Snyder's Justice League becoming a reality. And his name is Bryan Zapp. And I really appreciate all the fan art that I see here. Lots of beautiful fan art. All of this is fan art, by the way. Beautiful, isn't it? I remember this fan art won the competition. The last time we were competing, I think it was in 2020, we had a competition. We had SnyderCon. I would like us to go back to those days. So I want to first make this announcement, and you guys can spread it to all of the fandom. On March the 18th will mark the 4th anniversary of the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max. Now, Snyder Queen has been advocating for using hashtag event, restore the Snyderverse, etc. But I think our movement has become a bit too weak. What I mean by this is we're not offering anything. There's a lot of complaints. There's a lot of people putting up photos and pictures, but we're not having fun. We need to have fun in this movement. And what I suggest, on March the 18th, we should have a competition. The best artist. We can have best poster for Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2. We could have the best video trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2. Now, if you don't want to do a trailer, maybe you want to do something more artistic, maybe a little short, maybe a little excerpt, whatever you want to do in video format. The best cosplay for Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2. So we're talking Nightmare Batman, we're talking Nightmare Cyborg, Nightmare Mira, Nightmare Deathstroke. We know that Deadshot is supposed to be in the Nightmare sequence. We know that you have a Nightmare version of Flash, Nightmare Superman, Deceased Diana, Aquaman, Kilowog. We could have fun. Best cosplay. Then we could do best soundtrack. Maybe it'll still have to be a video soundtrack or whatever. Best soundtrack. Put out your best, piece of music. How you think the sequel should sound, Um, and we can do it on Twitter. If you guys want to, you can use different platforms. You can use Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You could carry this competition all across the place. I will try to do it, initiate it if nobody else does, because I put it out there last week and nobody really responded. Some people retweeted it and stuff, but it wasn't really a significant response like the art I was putting out. So hopefully, I think I streamed it on Twitter as well. So hopefully someone will pick this up and carry the torch. Now, I suggested what could be done on Twitter using hashtags. You use the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse. You use the Snyder Cut Twitter handle, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's the Snyder Cut Twitter handle, which they do other ads with. And you also tag it with whatever category. So if you're doing, for example, you're doing trailers, use hashtag trailer. If you're doing cosplay, hashtag cosplay. If you're doing soundtrack, hashtag soundtrack. If you're doing a music video, whatever. If you're doing, you know, uh, poster, hashtag poster, So we're using those hashtags. Now, anybody who wants to see all the posters, they could just use the hashtag plus probably restore the Snyderverse or hashtag, or not hashtag, but at your Twitter handle. So, you have multiple ways of identifying them. And then the winners are just produced by votes. So through category, the winner will have the most votes, and that's simple. You don't need judges for that or anything like that. So, and then the winners can be presented to Zack Snyder. You know what I mean? And this competition could take about 2 days. What we could do is open the competition before the 18th. So by the 18th, we can be able to judge the competition. Because the deadline for submission will be maybe uh, midnight at the end of the 17th. And then you could have your compilation of who had the most votes. And maybe most votes retweets, whatever. But at the end of the day, we get the winners and then we present them to Zack Snyder so he knows. So all of this beautiful art. Now, of all this art that I'm showing you guys right now, and this is really just fantastic. And let's not forget, Zack Snyder's Justice League was one of the most spectacular superhero movies ever made. Literally, that's part of the thing. And look at this. This is Dark Side, you know, Justice's gray version, and then you got Dark Side with the color. And these two versions of Darkseid were actually done by Bryan Zapp, which brings me to my tribute to Bryan Zapp, which I want to talk to you guys about right now. So this is Bryan Zapp, and Bryan got to see the Snyder Cut, thankfully. Of course. Okay, this was done in 23. This is Bryan's relative using his account. Today marks 2 years since Bryan passed away. Well, it's now going to be 3, April this year. 2 years ago, on April 20th, Bryan Zapp passed away at the age of 24. Bryan was a very unique person who was well liked by everyone for a singular way of being. He truly cared about those around him and did so with sincerity. He was very calm, rarely ever got upset about anything. 2017, Bryan almost suffered a heart attack. We took him to the hospital, and when everything was calm, he told me that his first thought was that he was going to die, and his second thought was, damn, I'm going to miss Justice League. It was a serious situation, but he made me laugh. That's how calm Bryan was. He was a very relaxed person who appreciated life in his own way. In 2021, he was able to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. He didn't miss it. A month after watching it, he passed away. After 2 years, Bryan has missed out on many things that he would have liked to see. He missed out on the Batman, Army of the Dead, Halloween, seeing Ray Fisher signing his art, seeing the kitten he rescued missing his presence, seeing how the well we missed the hat hashtag was used, and he missed out seeing how his art is still being shared on social media. The pandemic was difficult for many, but for us, it gave us one last opportunity to watch movies and talk late into the night. His absence is always felt We love Bryan and miss him every day. I believe this is his brother who posted this up. And I'm so I just want to share this with you guys here. So this is Bryan. This is what Bryan looked like. And as you may already know, my brother Bryan, so this is his brother, Bryan Zapp. Bryan's actual name is not Bryan Zapp. His actual name is I'll get his actual name in a minute. But anyway, Bryan was someone very committed to his work as an artist. When he had an idea for artwork, he started right away developing the concept and turning it into one of his pieces. He loved creating new things and was very creative at it. Whenever he got a commission, he used to tell me how interesting the concept was. He got excited and started working on it right away. He never saw his art as a job. He saw it as doing what he loved the most. He was truly an artist. Movies were really an important aspect of his life. Whenever you saw a movie with him, it was a whole better experience. He used to know every little thing you could think of, facts, details, news, everything. You could talk to him for hours, and it really made every movie you could see with him better. You can see all of his love for movies transmitted in his artworks. Bryan was an incredible, quiet, and easygoing person. He was very, very sweet. He cared for everyone around him. Whenever you speak to him, you feel calm. He always had a little smile for everything. There were so few times in life that I can recall seeing him mad about something. He was really peaceful, and once you knew him, it was impossible not to love him. He always told me how important this community was to him, so I decided to make a final post in his account so that you could know a little bit better who Bryan was. This was one of the last photos taken of him. He really loved his hats. There he is with his hats. A lot of hats. Okay, here's his artwork. There's Army of the Dead. Always bet undead. He literally did this. I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit more on it so you can see the details. The dice, and it looks like a sword, a knife going into the eye here. This is Godzilla versus Kong. Look at all the details. Very thorough. This is Ray Porter and Liz Wonder talking about Bryan's work. Just how incredible it is and how much they're fans of him. This is while they were donating to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, with which we raised, let's not forget, $1.1 million to preventing suicide. So Bryan started, he was in the Restore the Snyderverse campaign. Of course, that campaign broke all kinds of records. And Bryan's vision for Restored Snyderverse involved Justice League Part 2, the Air Cut, Ben Affleck's Batman movie, and a Henry Cavill Man of Steel 2. And then a Cyborg movie, interestingly enough, before Justice League Part 3. Um, you know, Bryan kind of captures everything that I think should happen. So the priorities were to get the Air Cut into theaters, get Ben Affleck's Batman into theaters. He wanted to see a Henry Cavill Superman um, standalone movie, or should I say solo movie. And he also wanted to see Ray Fisher again. He wanted more of Ray Fisher. Then he wanted Justice League Part 2, followed by Justice League Part 3. And I think he basically captures what we as Snyder fans would love to see when we say restore the Snyderverse. It's I think he basically captures what we would want because, quite frankly, when we say restore the Snyderverse, this is what we mean. And he literally captures it perfectly. This is what we want. Um, and, you know, he was able to see that epic day when, uh, I don't know how well he was, but when we actually broke the internet with restore the Snyderverse. It was a record high 1.5 million tweets. I believe it was March 19th, 2021. The demand was at fever pitch. WB stock was at all-time high. And then Ann Zarnoff said the most tone-deaf, stupid thing we've ever heard in our entire lives. When we had great comedians, we had movie stars, we had directors, we had producers all saying, this needs a sequel. We had random people, okay, from the general public saying, let's go, man, let's get the sequels going. Restore the Snyderverse. This really needs to keep going. When we had people who hated Zack Snyder's BVS turning around and saying, I want to see more of this. This was great. This movie won me over. When we had haters and people who said they didn't like what Zack Snyder was doing with the universe, suddenly turning face and going on the gravy train saying, restore the Snyderverse. There's nothing better out there right now. After so many flops, remember, Zack Snyder's Justice League came in the midst of a whole set of flops. DC was just flopping all over the place. And the Snyder Cut was like a ray of sunshine in the middle of these flops. We had Joker, but that was a while ago. And we hadn't had the Batman yet. And boy, so, I say all of this to say he was, he got to at least see some really epic things happen before he passed away in April. This is what he says. Go use Restore the Snyderverse on Twitter. These are some of the DCU projects that were in development. It's funny that WB is like, yes, we're doing the multiverse, and we listen to fans. Sadly, they don't. This is what DC fans really want. Stop ignoring real facts. Everyone loves the Snyder Cut. This needs to happen. Remember those days? This was March 25th, 2021. This is after Ann Zarnoff had made the announcement that they have no future plans to continue the Snyderverse, and they are wrapping up Zack Snyder's trilogy. This young man pushed forward. This is some of his artwork again. This is Martian Manhunter. Some call me the Martian Manhunter, Snyder Cut. This movement with the epic voice and presence of Harry Lennox was great. I remember watching BVS back in the day and thinking, what if General Swandrick's real identity is Martian Manhunter? That would be a really cool concept. Damn, I can't wait to see more of him in the future. So he was looking forward to the future as well. He did not know what was going to happen. And again, Arnstoff had made her comments, but this guy looked to the future. And it's because of guys like Bryan Zapp that, and I was a big fan of his work, that I look to the future as well. And I look forward to seeing, more of these characters and more of this universe. Because Bryan was a big proponent and he was a really nice guy. He wasn't mean like me. He was into his art and stuff. I curse out people and stuff, and get mad and raise my voice. He wasn't that. He was a gentle person. Unfortunately, not by suicide or any means, but illness, sudden illness that came upon him. I don't know if he got a second heart attack and died. I don't know what it was. It could have been COVID. It could have been a COVID vaccine. I don't want to go there. But I'm just saying that he died. It seems as though he died of a heart attack, and unfortunate, and he'll be missed. His artwork is here, though, so that's why I'm here in this video, just trying to remind everybody about him, because a lot of y'all might have forgot about him. This was what he wanted to present as the Batman. Look at this stuff. Look at the artwork. Look at the stuff. It looks like an official poster. He was so good, ladies and gentlemen. Look how he mixes color with, the graying scale and everything. He's just such a fantastic artist he was. Bryan Zapp, Ben Affleck's The Batman poster, the Snyder Cut. It's a big success. Can we finally get the Batman film? So he was asking for it, make it happen. And he was, contacting everybody, Ben Affleck, Jared Leto, HBO Max, And look at his artwork. I'm going to show you guys some stuff. I put this up on Twitter. Look at this stuff, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Is that fantastic artwork or what? Bryan Zapp. So this is with the color, and he's really uses, the different color gradients. You see the different color gradients for the different places. The ocean looks kind of bluish. There's a blue grading, whereas, the apocalyptic future has a orangish, goldenish, grading. And then you see, uh, you know, different gradings for the Justice League below. It's just fantastic artwork. This is it in black and white. Justice's gray version, if you want. Look how he gets the contrast so well. The shading. Look at it. The guy was just a tremendous artist. Tremendous artist. And we miss him. And this was his shirts that he purchased as a fan. Just this time, everyone. Just a few more hours for the Snyder Cut. Remember, you can get this official Justice League merch from Ink to the People. So he was actually advertising for Ink to the People so they could raise money for suicide prevention. AFP and all funds go to supporting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Such a nice guy. Here he is with Darkseid using the Omega beams. All of existence shall be mine. All right, let me go. And this is, of course, if we were to do a competition and I say, hey guys, so I want a poster for Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. And just look at the coloring, look at the tone, the contrast, the details he put into this. So fantastic. Bryan Zapp. And he got a lot of commissions. He was really good as a artist. This is again the nightmare. This is Deathstroke right here, right? Oh, such beautiful color grading. And this is it in, Justice is Gray. Oh my God, look at the details on him. So remarkable. Here's the Flash. He did the Flash. He was just so good, ladies and gentlemen. So good at what he did. This is it. Look at the details on that. Such a great artist. We've lost a really good one. Look at this is Cyborg. You know what I like about the Justice's Gray version? It really pops out stuff that you can't see with the color because of the contrast and so on that you can't see. You actually see more details with the gray version. Coloring, I think, distracts. Such a tremendous artist. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight him. I really don't have anything extra to say. So you will see some of his pieces up on Twitter as we go through sometime through today and tomorrow, just in tribute to him. This is Joker. See the details? You can see more of the police medals, the dust in the background, because the colors don't distract you much. Get to see his clothing, how the clothing, the fabric and everything. And this is not his work. This is obviously just Nightmare Batman. She had. She's just a big fan. Look at this. Zack Snyder director's cuts. Emerging Watchmen, an Army of the Dead with Batman v Superman, the Snyderverse trilogy. So crazy. I'm not sure if he's the one that actually did the graphics for this. Oh yeah, it was really him. He did it. Celebrating Zack Snyder's birthday, I wanted to share this piece I made back in 2019 of the Snyder Cuts event. There you go. Look at this. Falls God. Some quick art I did back in November. Even that stuff for Mortal Kombat. Here is again. Ooh, this is so great. These are some of the members of the Justice League here. Black and white's really awesome. Here's Steppenwolf. Again, he did this graphic art here. It's so incredible. Look at that. That is insane. I remember when he put up this image of Darkseid. This is fucking. Look at this stuff, y'all. Look at this stuff. My goodness. Look at this. Look at this. Now, this, I'm not sure if this. Yeah, I guess this is his art because he's got his name in the corner. That's insane. I remember this. This is him doing Steppenwolf. So freaking insane. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, y'all. Mm. Insane. Mm. Mm. Insane. All right, this is just Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder presented that, so that's cool. Look at that. Now he did this because you see the Batman. Look at the Batman hat right there. Mm. Superman's S right there. It looks like Cyborg's head right here. You got the Flash logo there. Batman's Batarang. Aquaman's Trident. So he did this. The Joker's card right here. Bryan Zapp, y'all. Look at that. Wow. Mm, man. So he did this as well. It's pretty insane. Pretty insane. All right. So I'm going to just stop right there. Blessings to everybody. I just wanted to give some tribute to Bryan Zapp. I got